right, I've had a few questions and people wondering about the build on the car. So, sorry about the squeaky door. I decided to come out in my messy garage where the car is parked, and I drove it from the shop to home. It is not fully assembled yet. I still have a little bit of the dash and interior to put together, and have a little bit more to go, but it is getting there, and I wanted to do a little bit of an update for you. So you know where it's been, what we've done the last 8 months, I guess. So I'm gonna put that door up. Hopefully that's not too noisy, but here it is. Let me turn on lights. Sorry, we've had a crazy winter between surgeries and my youngest daughter getting married and some other things going on. It really delayed my build. I tore the car apart, and then it ended up being put on hold for a few months. So here we go. It is a LC9. Stock bottom end, but it is rebuilt, new bearings, rings, everything cleaned up, decked the block and squared it off. Most GM blocks, LS blocks are not square, and so we decked it and squared it up. It's a Gen 4 bottom end. However, I have Gen 3 862 heads, but we ported them just a little bit, pocket ported, and put 2-inch valves in them. So we enlarged the valves a little bit, pocket ported them, opened up the chambers a little bit. Didn't soften them or fully port them or anything like that. But it's an LC9, 862 heads, running about 11-to-1 compression, Gen 4 TBSS intake. And I mean, it's a pretty basic build. It is a custom cam motion cam. I can post up the specs if anybody is interested. We are a cam motion dealer at DadRod Garage, and they are hands down some of the best ground cams, I feel, anyways, personally. Not knocking any other businesses or builders. BTR is great as well. I'm just really happy with our cam motion custom specs and how these cams perform. So we have upgraded all the cars that kind of come through our shop are running cam motion cams, many of them custom ground. So we just upgraded mine, and Brandon's as well went to a much larger cam motion cam. So upgraded the turbo. I had a 7875 VS Racing, a cheap cast turbo, running that about 18 pounds, and the car went 980s. I definitely had more in it, but I had a little bit of a wavy deck and some issues with my head sealing. So the more we turned up the boost, we began to spray a little bit of water out this side. So this engine's all rebuilt, new. It's actually a different block. The other one's still sitting on the floor in the shop. But anyways, I went to an 85 millimeter forced performance turbo. Bought this from Forced Performance, and it has a Zona rotor exhaust wheel. So this turbo is excellent anywhere from, my 5.3 to a 6.0. It would really handle a little bit more cubic inch, just because it can really move some exhaust air. But my restriction is probably going to end up being my hooker turbo manifolds. I'm running the hooker system to where you've got the little crossover in the rear, hits that manifold. We go to 3-inch up. I've got a VS Racing wastegate, and I just dump right there, and then we feed the T6 turbo. So then 4-inch exhaust. I do go out the back. Under the car, I restrict it to 3-inch out the back. That's just for cruising when I have no compressor on. When I kick the compressor on and use the MAC valves, we have some boost control. Then we can control our boost and pretty much do anything with it. I do have a cutout as well. I put a 4-inch cutout on it for when I really want to race, and that dumps out the fender right here. So it's just a straight dump when I open it up. That is controlled currently by my little fob, open and close the valve, but I'm eventually going to control that with the Holly, so I can automate all that, but I definitely always want to override. But I put Willwood brakes, front and rear, a Willwood master cylinder, got rid of the power brakes, went to manual brakes. We're going to be upgrading the steering shaft very soon. I still have a stock rag joint, don't like it. I have the cheap CPP arms, and I did a little bit of modification to them. Added a 1-inch extended ball joint, so I've now got 7.5 inches, maybe 8 of extension in the front end when I need it. We're putting longer bolts in here for some little control arm stops, so I can lock it down when we're on a prep track or limit the suspension movement And on a no prep situation, I can allow that extension, and we give it some ability to transfer weight. Also running the hybrid Viking dual adjustable coilovers in the front. That's what's up front here. I did not cut the frame or run the actual true coilover yet. I may go to that, but I'm very, very happy with these. I've still got probably 3 to 4 inches of shaft showing at my current ride height, and have 7.5 inches to 8 inches of extension yet. So I really don't see the need to go to true coilover yet at this time. Still running a stock, well, not a stock, but a steel cowl hood. I'm really happy with the mild look. The white stripes on the black car make it look pretty bold, but it looks like a really, really mild street car. I did have to eliminate my hood latch due to putting an intercooler there. Right now I've only got a 3-inch intercooler. I'm eventually going to go to a 5 or a 6, so that will become much larger. That is going to be my current restriction with this particular turbo. I'm running dual Holley 450 pumps on E85, all PTFE lines, front to rear, so pressure and return, aeromotive regulator with some Holley fuel rails, and 210 authentic Bosch injectors, so stock coils. But anyways, it's actually a pretty freaking mild build, but it is going to be probably deep in the 8s at this point. It's still almost a full weight car, Camaro. Definitely a little bit of lightning in the front because I did gut those stock big giant leaf springs they put underneath, those impact absorbers they put underneath these in 74. So I have cut those out, and we just have some tubing bolting the bumper on, and I needed to do that to be able to fit the intercooler. Now I also removed the impact absorbers in the rear bumper and just fabricated some bumper brackets, and then built some tube attaching to the frame, some tubing for the parachute mount, and drilled a hole in the bumper and came right out the bumper for the parachute mount. So it's pretty simple. I did make it 2-piece, so I can bolt it right behind the bumper. There's a bolt. I can pop it out, and I can build a hitch for my drag and drive trailer. I have a real little lightweight motorcycle trailer for drag and drive that we're going to figure out how to mount my slicks onto, or my bias tires. I have Street R bias, and then I have Street R radials for the street and the Street R bias for the track, or for the no prep. On the prep side of the track, I actually run the radials. So, but there's the car, really, really mild looking street car, especially if I pulled off the chute. I mean, it just looks like your cool little cruise-in car. And like I said, I'm super happy with it. The body is really, really nice. Now, I do have, like I said, I'm still working on putting the interior together. I have new seat covers. I just haven't had time to do it. In fact, the back seat still isn't even in the car after putting the 12-point cage in it with swing outs. And did a really nice job, tucked it up there just as tight as I possibly could, and put a parachute mount right there. I will eventually weld it. I just wanted to make sure I was positioning everything right, so I used hose clamps until I know that I'm really happy with it. I wanted it out of the way and yet still easily accessible. So did have to notch the dash a little bit for the pillar bars, which absolutely stunk, but got rid of the gauge cluster, put a Holley screen in the car, used the stock Z28 steering wheel yet, which I love. I did have to add a bump button and a trans brake button. I have had to modify the console just a tiny bit to be able to fit the shifter that I wanted. I did raise it 3 or 4 inches here, and I do have a cover for it. It's just not on there yet. Eliminated the radio and put a fuel gauge there. I got my boost control switch there. I'm actually going to put in my line lock switch either here or here, one of the two. There's a little ash burn there from a cigarette. I may drill a hole and put that line lock switch right there, or I'm going to put it right under the boost control. Not sure yet. I have some lighter chargers, little USB chargers, to put in that spot right there. I do have the glove box yet that's going to go in. I put the dash bar far enough forward and high so that I can put the stock glove box back in place. I did have to relocate my headlight switch and my wiper switch. That will be going into the dash where my heater controls would be. I did remove the heater. There's no heater box under there anymore. In fact, all my electronics, I'm buttoning this up so it will be very, very nice. But the ECU, the Holley ECU, and fuse block and main fuse and stuff is under here. It's a little messy right now, but like I said, we've been doing some testing and setting it all up at this point. There's my computer for tuning. And like I said, it's getting the back seat, and that's all getting recovered. I do have harnesses, race equipped for both sides. Mounted a fire extinguisher here that's very, very accessible. You could get somebody to crawl in that back seat if you absolutely had to. It would be a little bit rough, but you could do it if you absolutely had to. I don't like carrying passengers in the back seat. Sorry, that's a little dusty. Just because I don't want them hitting themselves if we were to get in a wreck on this crossbar. I did set my rear bars off to the side within 5 inches of the NHRA regulation from the top of the hoop. And down, I wanted them way out of the way so that if you did have somebody in the back seat, their head clearance. The only issue I really run into that I'm not real pleased with or need to figure out yet is my stock seatbelt retractors were in the headliner, and now those had to come out. So I don't know if I have to gut them, bolt the framework back in there, put the cover on, or if I can come up with some kind of custom cover for my headliner. But stock dome light, and it works. The power's just off on the car right now. So that's all coming along, and it's very, very cool. Car's relatively really clean, especially once I get my new seat covers on there. So, but I don't want to ramble. I just wanted to show you a little bit of what the car is. I did build a 9-inch rear end for the car, and this winter, so I did build a 9-inch and trussed it. So it's trussed and braced and Mosier axles. I did put a spool in it. We've got the Kel-Trax. I've got dual adjustable Viking shocks in the rear, which I moved inboard, obviously. Built some custom mounts, adjustable. And I'm running Detroit Speed springs. A lot of guys switch out to the Kel-Trax springs. But I'm really, really happy with these Detroit Speed 2-inch lowering springs. And I'm going to run them until they quit working for me. But until then, they are good. I've got a Turbo 400 transmission, PTC 9.5-inch converter, and a 1 first gear and second gear leave trans brake. So I'm able to leave on second gear. I have not tried that yet, but we may try that for no prep. I just don't know if I have quite enough gear. It's a 350 gear in the rear end, polished US Lightning gears. But anyways, that's the car, and I hope you enjoyed this little update. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a shout out. I did narrow the rear end an inch, no, 3/4 of an inch per side, so 1.5 inches total. And you can see how tucked those 275s are now. They are majorly tucked. I don't know how my bias are gonna fit yet. I have not had them on the car. These are 8-inch billet specialty wheels, and with the 275 radial, and my bias ply are on 10-inch billet specialty wheels. And like I said, I haven't had those on yet. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to cut the seatbelt hump out. I don't think I have to mini tub it to fit them, but I think I'm gonna have to cut that seatbelt hump out, or I'm gonna have to run a really, really thin spacer just to push it out just a little bit. But you can see how stinking tucked those rears are, which I love, tucked and low. So that was kind of the goal. Almost a little bit too tucked, but anyways, we'll see how it does. But that's hot date. I do have the battery located in the rear and also a cutout switch for the track. This is going to be NHRA certified because I want to do the Dragon drives. And sorry about my major mess here. I wanted to keep this video under 15 minutes. That's my Dragon drive trailer. We're going to be mounting some brackets on that and fabricating so for the generator and my set of tires. And then we'll have some little shelves built in there for tools and some power tools and batteries and whatnot. So that's my little Dragon drive trailer. And there you go. That's a little update about hot date. Hopefully that helps you out. Sorry you had to see my messy garage. Everything got a mess this last winter in all the life stuff we had going on. But that's hot date. There's where she sits right now with a little cover on her. I got to drive it back to the shop probably this coming week. finish buttoning up the interior and the wiring, and then we will be recovering the seats, and then we'll be getting this car out a bunch, hopefully the next 4 months, while we still have season. I hit 15 minutes. I'm going to let you go. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for tuning in and checking out the latest hot date update. Have a good one, guys. Bye.